you guys want, I can do a mic check for you. And a light. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. 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 Speaking from the podium. Hello. Hello. You guys need me to keep talking? Would you like me to keep talking?
Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
That's past. Do you remember the phone or something?
We're going to get started here in another minute or so. I wanted to let you know, though, that the information I'm going to read to you today is pretty thorough, hopefully addressing a lot of the questions that you're going to have in what we tell you already. It's going to take about 15 minutes for me to get through this information, so I'll give you a timeline as to what we're looking at, so you're not chomping at the bit to come up with a question, and then we will be able to address those questions after that time, okay? All right, we're going to get started now. The case of missing Dr. Teleka Patrick has drawn considerable national interest. There has been much reporting of her disappearance and even more speculation on the circumstances of her disappearance and where she might be. This conference will address what we know, what we believe. It's going to confirm some information and perhaps put some misinformation to rest. I will go straight to the bottom line of this entire incident, or this entire event today. We do not know where Teleka Patrick is at this time. When I speak, I intentionally will leave out persons' names. Any reference to he should be taken as either male or female. All persons we spoke with do not wish media contact and insist on being left alone because of the exhaustive media exposure. Please do not ask us to identify these persons. Here's what we do know. Teleka Patrick came to Kalamazoo in July of 2013 to attend the Western Michigan University School of Medicine to do a residency in psychiatry. When interviewed by the school as to why she wanted to come to Western Michigan University, she indicated that she had a fiance and she wanted to be close to that person. On December 5th, 2013, Dr. Patrick worked her regular shift at the Borges Medical Center. Staff who interacted with her did not report anything unusual and say that she had conversations with fellow workers. One of them was that she disclosed she was going to go to Chicago on the upcoming weekend. She was going to visit a relative and go to church with them. Teleka stayed late for her shift and at 7:30 p.m. sought a ride from a fellow hospital worker. In the course of that conversation, she advised that she had lost her wallet and was in need of some money. The fellow worker gave her $100 and gave her a ride downtown. While en route, the fellow worker noted that the conversation was erratic and Teleka was acting, as the worker described, strange. Once downtown, Teleka requested to be dropped off at the Radisson Hotel. Teleka went inside, briefly walked around, and went to the counter and appeared to want to check into a room. She had no luggage or a purse and did not have any identification with her. Her behavior at the time seemed to be erratic to the point that an employee asked her if she was okay. Teleka eventually said that she needed a ride to Borges Hospital and they offered her a ride in their customer van. Teleka asked the hotel staff for a ride and they did give it to her. She said that she had things to pick up at Borges. She was offered the ride and they drove her to the front of the building on Old Borges. Once she got there, the van, she got out of the van, backing away from it, saying that she was sorry and that she can't go back with you, is what she told the driver. He thought that was odd. He watched her in the parking lot, and she walked away and went towards a vehicle that later was described as possibly her 1997 Lexus. That's the vehicle we believe was in the parking lot at that time. The van driver watched that vehicle back out and pull away. The Radisson Hotel employee returned back to the hotel and was done at 8:01 p.m. 2 hours later, 10 p.m. Michigan time, the Indiana State Police received a call of a vehicle being driven erratically on I-94 in Indiana. The driving behavior was described as speeding up about 85 miles an hour, slowing down along the median, and passing vehicles. The driver was not described, only that there was one person in the vehicle, that being the driver. Eventually, the vehicle went off the road by about 40 feet. The Indiana State Police, not sure what had happened, were sent to the scene, as well as rescue was sent to the location at the 23-mile marker of I-94 in Indiana. Nobody could be located at the scene at that time. The Indiana State Police and the rescue workers searched the area around the vehicle. No one was found. In the vehicle was Teleka's wallet that contained $7, her identification, some credit cards, and miscellaneous car items. The keys were not with the vehicle, and the vehicle had a flat tire. There was no purse in the vehicle, but we also have no indication that Teleka carries a purse. The vehicle was towed on December 5th by the Indiana State Police. On December 6th, Teleka did not show up to work. The Western Michigan School of Medicine staff became concerned that she did not return their phone calls when they attempted to locate her. So on the evening of Friday, December 6, 2013, at 6:30 p.m., a staff member came to the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office to file a missing persons report. At that time the report was made, it was disclosed that Teleka told staff that she was driving a white rental. In fact, it said rental across the back of the vehicle, as her vehicle was in a shop due to some damage. No license plate was known on the rental by the staff or by the sheriff's office at that time. In the initial investigation, we were unable to locate Teleka Patrick. On December 10th, the sheriff's office was able to determine that Teleka's car had been out of the shop, and we found the license plate to that vehicle. We ran the license plate and found that it was impounded by the Indiana State Police on December 5th. Contact was made with the Indiana State Police, who returned to the scene and conducted a second, even more thorough search of the area. They checked all the motels, the rest areas, the hospitals, and all the stopping points in a very large diameter around the location of where the vehicle was found abandoned. They brought in a bloodhound, and several runs by the hound indicated that the driver of the vehicle walked to the edge of the roadway where the scent was lost. Their efforts turned up nothing at the scene. Since then, the FBI has also conducted a search of the air and ground, looking all around for any clues. The Kalamazoo County Sheriff's investigators believe that the person driving the vehicle was Teleka Patrick. This is based on the report that the motorist who reported the erratic driving and that there was only one person in the vehicle at that time. Additionally, a drive from Borges Medical Center to mile marker 23 in Indiana along I-94 is approximately 2 hours. And the last person believed to be driving the vehicle 2 hours earlier was Teleka. This is the last time anyone has reasonably seen Teleka Patrick to our knowledge. When the Sheriff's Office began looking into the missing person report, it was clear that there were obstacles in the road. It was important to find out who placed those obstacles there. If someone else other than Teleka had, then we were sure that there would be a dangerous situation for her. If she'd placed the obstacles there herself, then she would be a voluntary missing person. What were the obstacles? The first, her cell phone. Teleka's cell phone was left in her locker at work. Also in her locker were her work identification, her smock, and pretty much anything that belonged to the hospital. That could lead someone to believe that she felt she wasn't coming back there. The next obstacle involved her financial resources. Teleka did not take credit cards that we know of with her, so there is no tracking of any financial data. Her banking accounts have also had no activity. The third obstacle was that her social media had been deleted. We needed to find out if she had done this herself or if someone else had done that. The Sheriff's Office knew of some things right away. We knew that there was a PPO against her that will be addressed later on. Our initial attention was drawn to the white-colored rental vehicle as the first source of trying to find where she was, rather than her Lexus, which may have delayed locating the vehicle in Indiana. It was also discovered along the way, through interviews and investigations with the detectives, we've learned that there may have been some delusional behavior in the previous times, and that this wasn't a recent behavioral change. We learned that she had exhibited some behavior before, that in those cases she urgently left wherever she was. Whenever she would leave in the past, it would only be for a day or so, and in each case, she checked into a motel or a hotel. It appeared that this pattern was repeating itself. Perhaps the resolution to the earlier disappearances would hold true again this time. None of the other incidents had been as long or to this magnitude. As more information was developed, such as the scene at the Radisson and the factual basis that surrounded the PPO, it was apparent that Teleka had some possible issues that she was managing and that she was able to hide these incidents from other people convincingly. Let's address some of the details that have been reported by the media or the Sheriff's Office. The Lexus was in for repair. This is true. It was in for repair, but she retrieved it on December 3rd. The vehicle was in for minor body work. At the time she picked up the vehicle, Teleka was told that it had bad tires and that they should be replaced. We do not know if the vehicle went off the road because of a flat tire or received a flat tire because of going off the road. The mystery phone call that's been reported widely the Wednesday before she went missing. As much as it's been reported that she was distressed of it, none who were in the room in the meeting at the time which she took the phone call and she returned substantially say that she was distressed because of the phone call. That call was determined simply to be a family member reporting to her that they had arrived at a destination to put her mind at ease. Nothing else came from that phone call. Her apartment at Gull Run Apartment Complex has been searched by the detectives, and the apartment contents will not be discussed, but there was nothing in the apartment that was unusual, and her computers were seized at that time. Borges Hospital surveillance cameras. True, they were not working the night that she went missing, but that would not give us any more information than we already have by an eyewitness that saw her leave into the parking lot and possibly get into her vehicle and drive away. The best photo of Teleka, we have a photo we're going to hand out here to you today that's on a disc for your use that will give a better representation of what she normally looks like. One piece of information here that has come up a lot is Pastor Marvin Sapp. The pastor is nothing more than an innocent victim of an apparent stalking. The sheriff's office has been in contact with him for quite some time, and he has been thoroughly cooperative. Given the facts that he outlined in his PPO, he really had no choice but to seek the PPO in September of 2013. It has been determined or intimated in the media, and readers are concluding that Mr. Sapp may be a suspect in her disappearance. I will tell you right now, he is not a suspect in her disappearance. Any leads? Despite international media attention, the sheriff's office has received no leads that have panned out. A few tips have come in, and that they have been checked out, but they've been determined to be unproductive information. Teleka was not in Kalamazoo long enough to establish a social network or have many close friends, which are usually the avenue of obtaining investigative information and helping us seek a person. The social media. There's been much attention to the correspondence allegedly from Teleka. While there have been several claims of certain Twitters, tweets, and postings in the past, the sheriff's office requires proof or certification of authenticity. That information can only come from the social media services, and we have obtained that information through search warrants. We need that information so we can authenticate anything coming from Teleka's account. It should be noted that there has been no activity identified on the postings since her disappearance. This leads us to the question that we've been getting at the sheriff's office: is the social media a helpful situation in this case? Well, it is good information to put out there that someone is missing and to help us try to find information through those networks. But the information that has surfaced to this point from the social media has been hugely focused on Teleka's unusual behavior and not necessarily on finding her. The sheriff's investigation has long since crossed the bridge of her unusual behavior. We are looking for missing person information, not more information about erratic behavior. Lastly, the sheriff's office is repeatedly asked if we have an opinion on her welfare at this time. And what we'll say to that is that we constantly are in hope that if there are persons out there that know where she's at, that they contact the sheriff's office and they help us help the family put some of this to rest. Teleka Patrick is a very resourceful person, and we want to make sure that we recognize that. The sheriff's office believes that when she got into the car at Borges Hospital and left town, she did so on her own free will, and that she was headed to a relative's home in Chicago. What happened after her car went off the road, we do not know. And it's anyone's guess at this point. But she did not make it to that relative's house. We maintain the hope that and thought that someone is well aware of where she is and that they are helping her. The Kalamazoo Sheriff's Office will keep the Teleka Patrick missing persons case active and serve as a conduit working with the Indiana State Police and the FBI to continue this investigation. We will continue to contact agencies that may be in a jurisdiction that receive a viable tip to be followed up on and try to come to a good conclusion of this case. At that time, this concludes my information, and we will be able to take some questions. I will point to if you raise your hand for questions. And I have with me here today also Detective William Sparrow, who is one of the lead investigators of this case, as well as other command staff that are involved in this. And I will point out, too, that today our prosecutor, Jeff Yetting, is here with us, and he's been advised of the goings-on of this case.
Sheriff, you said the prosecutor is here. Is there any indication that there's anything criminal related to this at this point?
At this point, we are not finding anything that would indicate that. Yes, sir.
Back at the scene where the car was found, was there anything inside the car that may have indicated a struggle, that she may have been with somebody else, or that there was anything untoward that happened to her?
No, basically the information I gave about the items that were found in the car were the most significant thing for us. We found no scene in that vehicle. The vehicle was thoroughly inspected. It was our evidence crew, as well as anybody else related to the Indiana State Police, have gone through that vehicle and find nothing. Yes, sir.
The whole issue of checking different hospitals in the area, did you guys do that? And can you say if she was hospitalized for mental things in the past?
I cannot speak to her past as to what any hospitalization might be. I can tell you that we have been in contact, not only this agency, but the FBI and the Indiana State Police have been in contact with what we would identify as the hospitals in that area, and we have no information of her showing up to any of those hospitals. Yes, ma'am.
Have you checked homeless shelters or other places like that where maybe someone with mental issues might advocate to?
Yes, information has been sent out to all of these areas, and hopefully that at some point, if she is out there on her own, then somebody might recognize her from that information.
So you don't know that she has any ID, or were there any IDs that you know she might have had, like a passport or a California ID or other resources? She withdrawn money recently from her bank accounts?
Right. Her bank accounts do not indicate any activity whatsoever right now, and so that is what we do know. We believe we know what IDs that she would have, but again, not everybody knows what somebody else has for an ID. We're not finding anything else. Yes, ma'am.
Was there any surveillance cameras like along the highway that you guys have checked, or maybe
That
indicate she got in somebody's car or something?
Right, asking about surveillance alongside the highway. We have found no surveillance alongside the highway. Again, we're working with the Indiana State Police and the FBI, relying on them to help us with that type of information, and we're not finding any photographs of her alongside the road or in the area.
Do you know how long it was between the time that they got the 911 call? The car might have gotten off the road and the time the police actually got there. I mean, how long of a window was there that she might have taken off? Either gotten kicked out or...
It appears to be roughly a 20-minute period that they had received the first phone call to the point the car was actually found alongside the road.
Okay, was there only one car call?
Right now there was one call talking about her erratic driving or the erratic driving of that vehicle, and then one more phone call saying that they had seen a car in the ditch.
And that was from the same person or a different person?
Different people.
Different people. So what was the window between the time we saw a car in the ditch and the cops standing there?
It sounded like it was about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
You talked about checking the hospitals. In your experience, would hospitals be able to or be required to tell you if she was there?
In our experience, the hospitals are generally very cooperative, especially in a case where we are looking for a missing person. They do have rules that they have to abide by, and we're confident that any information that we were able to glean from the hospitals is accurate information, and so we don't believe that they're holding any information due to a patient identity situation.
How has the FBI helped so far, specifically?
The FBI is working as a broader base of what anybody else could do. So, of course, they put out the information through the networks, as well as making sure that we have the ability to go do some of these searches and to work with the Indiana State Police. It's a great combination of the three agencies.
Was there any indication that she was ever confronted by Marvin Sapp's staff? That was also talked about.
I have no information about that right now, no.
Any indication that he ever corresponded with her?
No. In fact, right now it appears they've never corresponded. He has never corresponded back to her, is what we have indications. In fact, we believe he's probably never met her or knew if he met her. Yes, ma'am.
So did she ever violate the PTO that you know?
Not that we know of.
That you know. And was there any sense, some people have said that they're concerned that he's in danger, that she might be lurking somewhere to do something to him. Is there any concern about that, or is that on anybody's radar?
nothing like that is on our radar right now. Again, we're focused on trying to find a missing person that we have concern for.
Are you still getting a lot of good tips coming in? Would you say all the attention to this is helping or hurting you guys?
That's the difficult part. We're not getting good tips. We're getting people believing that they have seen a person that they didn't recognize from before. We get into the area or we'll check things, and of course it's not related. To me, a good tip would lead us to another piece of information, and we've had no tips to lead us to another piece of information.
Just in relation to that, there was someone who was on a TV station saying, oh, I may have seen someone stopping and asking for direction, a Comfort Inn worker. Did that turn out not to be a credible tip?
Right. We have no credible tips at this point, but we do follow those tips up. So I'm trying to make sure we encourage people to still report them. We've received tips from different states, not even close to Michigan or Indiana, because somebody had felt that it was a suspicious situation and they thought it could be related, and they've been checked out to be nothing for this case. Yes, ma'am.
Had anything been going on, like, you were talking about the erratic behavior that her coworker had reported the night that she went missing. Was there anything before that anybody told you guys about, like certain behavior that she had leading up to it that people thought was suspicious, either at work or outside of work?
We're focused on the time period of the week that she has gone missing, and so in that time period right there, we have just a few conversations that made people wonder what the thought process was, and then the behavior at the hotel, of course, is what we've noticed. But outside of that, I couldn't comment. Yes, sir.
Any other destinations other than Chicago that she had talked about in the past that she said she may want to go, or when she had disappeared before, had she gone someplace specifically?
It does not sound like she's ever gone somewhere specifically whenever there was an issue in the past, and I can tell you that there are family and friends throughout the nation, and that she's been to all of these different places and has spoke of going to those different places. But again, the week we are focused on, she did not talk about going to any of those locations. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk again a little bit about the whole hotel trip, why she went there, and why she didn't get a room?
Sure.
Details surrounding that.
Yeah, first off, let me say that the staff at the Radisson Hotel have been very helpful throughout this investigation, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have certain pieces. So I thank the Radisson and their staff for the diligence they've shown in this case. Indications were that she walked into the lobby, did not immediately go to the counter. The staff wasn't sure what this person wanted. They could see that she was looking around. They said that she came up to the counter, didn't really indicate she wanted a room, but acted like she wanted a room. So when they were talking to her, they found out that she didn't have enough money, she didn't have any identification to get in, and so when they said, well, we can help you go back and get these things, because she did talk about going back to Borges, that was pretty much the extent of it. But the one member at the desk, to start the conversation, asked her if she was okay, because again, she was standing there and not asking for a room, not saying what she needed, she was just standing. Yes, ma'am.
We've been told that she had gone to the Radisson once before. Was it under similar circumstances? One of the the first PI was that. So was that under similar circumstances? She was able to book a room that first time.
I don't know about the first time itself. I won't speak to that because I'm talking about what we have right here.
Has she gone missing in Kalamazoo before?
She's never been reported missing anywhere.
Well, you said there had been times where she would, it sounded like that she would behave a little strangely, she would have delusions, she'd go off her dance, and then she would come back and be okay, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
That is what we're saying.
Did that ever happen during her 6 months in Kalamazoo?
Where that happened, I don't have that right here this minute.
Okay.
Why hold the news conference now? Why wait till 45, 46 days, 40 plus days?
Mm-hmm. Well, from the beginning, we have received a lot of phone calls with questions from the media, and very little help in actually locating this person, meaning tip-wise. So it got to a point where we felt that we were not receiving the information we needed, and we didn't want to put speculation out there in the early times just to make sure people understood that we have a missing person we are looking for. Through the investigation, you remember there was a point where we said that we would put no more information out for a while, because again, it was the same thing over and over, people wanting to talk about the different media outlets or social media. And we wanted to make sure that the investigation was focused on finding this missing person. So we are at a point now where we are confident that this person, to our knowledge, is not in some hospital, is not someplace where we can reach out and identify, and so we are asking again for more help in the locating of this missing person.
Your private investigator, how helpful has he been? How closely have you worked with him?
We'll always work with whoever the family wants us to work with, and remember they're now on a second private investigator from what I understand, and so both of them have been involved with us to some level, and I believe we've been more of the information network to them than they have been to us. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. Going back to when you said she had been missing before, you said you don't know when, but where did that happen? And do you know like how many times she had gone missing before? And what was her pattern? Like she would go to a hotel and stay for 2 days. They knew where she was, or she wouldn't tell anybody where she was going when she would go off to work.
That's something I would have to ask our detective. Do we have a pinpoint where we can say how often or where that happened? This is Detective Bill Sparrow.
Some of this pattern has actually started out in California, so we're going back some time, not just here in Kalamazoo. We believe there may have been an incident prior to in Kalamazoo. As far as the earlier time frame for the Radisson, we believe that is when she came for her orientation through Western Michigan University.
Oh, so that wasn't.
It was not related to this, and that was months earlier before she even moved to Kalamazoo.
Did she ever use an alias those other times when she began?
Not that we know of. And I think getting back to the other question, that yes, some friends or associates did know of her whereabouts.
During the time that she went missing?
Yes, but as far as the behavior that we've all seen or that the experience this time, she has exhibited the same behavior in those other incidences.
I'm sorry. You said the last time she stayed in Radisson, it was only when she was here during orientation. She hadn't moved here yet. She came and stayed here during orientation, then went back, and then moved back later.
Yeah, she came for like a day or whatever through the orientation, probably, the typical college. Yes.
And you may be the wrong people to ask this, but if she had, people are saying, well, she seemed to be exhibiting delusional behavior, and other people would say, well, there are times where she had gone up missing, yet she'd never been diagnosed with a mental illness, or she wasn't getting any kind of treatment. I mean, nobody was raising red flags about, maybe.
There is no diagnosis associated with her health, her mental health, and that's why we're cautious to make sure people understand that some of the behavior we've seen appears erratic or possibly delusional, and again, there is no diagnosis.
Right, and I understand that, but I mean, you don't know if anybody had suggested that she get help, or that there had been some discussion of that there were.
Right, we don't have any information about what somebody else might have wanted to offer up for her. We had a question here.
The stalking with Marvin Sapp, is there any indication that this happened with anybody else ever?
I would just say that there's other individuals with similar type of things of followings, but never went to the degree that Teleka Patrick went to, of actually going to the house. There's other people that are infatuated with Dr. Marvin Sapp, but she took it to the next step, so therefore felt the PPO.
And I guess I mean the other way. Teleka stalking anyone else?
No, there is no indications at this time.
Right back here.
I just want to ask the detective, is this case pretty unusual? Are you approaching this as she's trying not to be found, or, 6 weeks with no ID, no phone, no wallet, how is she staying, if she's not trying to be found, how is she staying hidden?
I would say obviously the behavioral issues cause us problems, the gray areas that you got to try to get through. So that throws up some roadblocks. So under normal circumstances, as some of the things that's pointed out, you would say yes, she intended to leave here. However, in this situation, you truly can't say that. I mean, all avenues are open to us.
The stretch of road where her car was found, is it true that that area is notorious for sex trafficking? And if so, or if not, is that a concern for you?
That would always be a concern for us, but that is not information that I'm really willing to discuss at this time because that's not been shared with me to that point. We have been in the area. It is an area that is like many others along I-94. There's a population area, there's a business area, there's a lot of traffic. So that would be for Indiana or the FBI to answer, not us. You've had a question that's been.
You talked early on about this idea that either she's wanting not to be found or that something really bad has happened to her. Have you decided which way you think this has gone?
What we have said from the beginning is that our ears are open to any possibilities. Our eyes are open for any information, and we will not make a decision on that point until we have more information. So right now, we are constantly seeking more information about the missing person we hope to return to their family.
Was she on any medication that you know of that she might be missing?
I wouldn't speak to her medications or anything like that. Yes, ma'am.
Had Marvin Sapp ever contacted the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office before he filed the PPO up in Grand Rapids? Had you guys ever had any contact with him about her behavior
No.
prior to that? And had she ever had any contact with the police prior to that you know of, prior to the PPO?
She's had no contact with the sheriff's office prior to the PPO, or prior to her missing. We've never had contact with her, actually. Yes,
How
ma'am.
did you find out about the PPO?
When we put her information in lien,
Right.
it showed in lien.
So,
Sure, obviously, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and when, is it your, do you think that she moved here because that fiance was Marvin Sapp?
Again, we're not speculating as to why she moved here other than to go to school here in Kalamazoo.
Well, she told somebody that it was, I mean, was that implication that that fiance was Marvin Sapp?
Really, there was no indication as to who the fiance was. That was just information that was given during an interview.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You've got other investigations, other crimes, et cetera, to put your energy and resources towards. Can you talk about how this has either, for lack of a better word, drained that, or just the challenges with trying to focus on this while focusing on the other cases?
That's a great question. What we have been able to do is dedicate as much time as possible by the use of a single detective who has other detectives assist him when they need to be out there with him. We also have some command officers that have spent a lot of time on this case. It has demanded a lot of our attention, and you are correct. We have many other cases. This is a county of 252,000 people, and so we have plenty of opportunity to interact with other people as well. But again, we are still dedicating the necessary resources to this case like we would any other, and hopefully our efforts will produce something that helps us find this person. Yes, ma'am.
What about, have you reached out to the trucker network at all? Because obviously, there's lots of truck traffic along there, and she might have ended up hitching a ride at the long distance.
Correct. There's even a truck stop within a mile of this location. And I know, again, that we have put that effort out there. The FBI has, as well as the Indiana State Police.
One other question. How confident are you that she might, what do you think the chances are that she still might have never left that area, that she might have ditched her car and fled off into the woods or something to come to the outlets?
Well, that's always a possibility, and those types of searches have been conducted and are likely to have others conducted just because of the same circumstance that you've given there. But again, there's so much traffic through that area. I'm of the hope that somebody has assisted this person and that she is someplace where, for whatever reason, we just don't know where she's at right now.
Have you made contact with the local medical center's offices in the counties along the way just to see if they've got any unidentified?
Yeah, that's part of the process that we go through for any event like this. And all those networks that you would see on television have been contacted. We have made sure that the hospitals again, the surrounding hotels, any place that we could imagine or normally glean information from have been contacted.
Hey,
Yes,
Dr.
sir. Right here.
What would be your message to her if she's watching?
My message to her if she is watching is that if for whatever reason that this is an event that may have got out of hand, meaning a temporary situation that became permanent because of the attention, I would say all is forgiven and please come forward because we need you to help your family and help everyone else understand what your situation is.
She's not in any trouble, won't be facing prosecution here or anything like that?
That'd be correct. Sir, you had a
After
question?
she attended the PPO hearing, to your knowledge.
I have not got that knowledge, no. Yes, sir. Oh,
It's not mine, it's okay.
not yours? All right, go ahead.
Based on your experience with these kinds of cases in the past, you have a person here who cut their ties, you can't really trace them, you're not getting in good tips, been gone for 6 to 7 weeks. Based on your experience, what's the likelihood that we'll ever know what happened?
I'm very cautious about trying to say what the likelihood is. Our biggest message here is that we want help from anybody that would have any information. And I would want her to understand that if she has anything to do with still being a missing person, that there are no issues with that. We need her to come forward and say that I am here. So the likelihood of that, I'm not sure, and I don't think that'd be a good place for us to try and say. Yes?
But the FBI, they would certainly have more experience with this than you, because this is a pretty unusual situation for here. But I'm guessing they've certainly had experience with people who might have, exhibiting symptoms of mental illness, gone missing. I mean, do people show up
Yes.
months and years later?
Yes, they do. You might remember the case about the same week that Dr. Patrick came up missing out of the east side of the country.
CNN.
The CNN situation where the young man was seen on a picture on the front page of the USA Today.
Yeah.
So I have hopes that a situation like that could make itself known to us.
Sorry, one last question. I know it's in another county, but the PPO, when I contacted the court before, they said they didn't have any record that it had ever been served. Do you know if she was even aware of it?
Yes. It was sent by certified mail, and she acknowledged it through the certified mail process.
Do we know why she couldn't get that room at the hotel?
Well, again, she didn't really ask for a room at the hotel. She appeared at the counter, appeared like she wanted some assistance, didn't say, I want a room. And it's reported to us that she had no identification, not enough money if that was the situation. And they thought had erratic behavior, so they were trying to figure out what it was going to take to help that person.
So just to be clear, at the hotel, with the friend that she was going to that day, she was fine up until, no one noticed anything unusual until that ride to downtown. Is that the first time that someone said, whoa?
Yes.
Yeah, that day is the first, or at that time, it's the first anybody said something might be a behavioral issue with her.
And how long of a shift did she work, do you know?
I couldn't tell you. I just know that she worked the day shift.
Okay.
You guys are in the... I'm sorry.
That's all right. Rex?
You said that she told a coworker that she was going to see family in Chicago that weekend. Did you guys find out in terms of what her plans were? Did she plan to leave that Friday? Because she was supposed to work on Friday. Going there on Thursday night would not have been part of the plan, right?
Right. All we know is that statement that she had planned on going there that weekend to visit a relative and go to church that weekend. We don't know if she planned on leaving Friday or Thursday evening or Saturday morning. We don't have that.
And so that's why you're guessing that's where she was headed when she took off?
Correct.
You guys are in the business of figuring things like this out. How has this been taxing on you emotionally? Do you feel like you guys have become emotionally connected to this case?
Yes, that always happens when you get involved in a case, especially one where you're trying very hard to get information and the information's not coming as much as we'd like it to. So, yeah, that does get to us because we are human and that we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help that family and to help that missing person. It looks like we're at a lull for questions, so I think this would be a good time to end our conference. I thank everyone for being here today, and hopefully this will answer some questions. And again, this is an open case, so thank you again for being here.
Thanks everyone for coming. If you'd like to go one-on-one with the sheriff, we'll be here.
Yes.
We've got the pictures that
yeah.
we're going to give you here for the, and I believe it's just one picture on the disc.
Yep.
And it's a more accurate depiction of what she looked like during the time.
The picture you've been using,
Captain Gown.
the ones of the cap and gown ones, I mean, it's a very photogenic picture, but it's not really representative of what you look like. So if you can pitch those, go with this one, the family would be really appreciative. Not letting you get here, otherwise we'll tend to think. In this picture, she's wearing the wig. She wears wigs on all the time. That's why the picture
I do. I think we talked
No, you're pretty much that's the one that they all, everyone's
Yes, yes. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
The picture's not very good.
Whoever's just looking around with it.
Yeah, you guys can go. He's,
Right.
She called it. Yeah, she said not going to call it.
and you're in live.
Yeah, you can't get out of it.
Sorry, Sheriff.
That's all right, we'll talk. It's very recent, so she frequently wears wigs, and this is the one. All the wigs tend to look so that's but everyone we've talked to, co-workers, school supervisors,
What we think is for it. Since she's been
so it's within the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So she came here.
I can't say it's, my guess it looks like it's an outdoor one before snow, so probably fall would be a good time for it. But it is from since she's been here, and that's representative.
We don't know if they've done this on their own or if somebody else is helping them. And that's what we're looking for. Because all social media stops on the day that she has gone missing. All witness accounts have stopped on the day that she has gone missing. All financial transactions have stopped on the day that she has gone missing. So we have nothing to follow up right now, other than our request to anyone who would have information to bring it forward. They are? Right, that's exactly it.
Okay, and one of the new things with pastor staff, is not really covered by them.
Right, and we believe they probably never met officially, and that he probably could not pick the person out in the crowd.
And then, there's so much attention on the kids nationally and internationally.
Well, it's not been a hindrance, but it's also not been a help. Help would be if somebody came forward with a piece of information that we were able to use. That is not what we're experiencing. We're experiencing a lot of people wanting to point out the erratic behavior or information that they've got off some social media networks that would, in their mind, point to some erratic behavior, but we have no information that we can use.
All those tweets and Facebook videos that have been done, those help you at all?
Well, they've helped us understand a little bit more of maybe what was going on in her own mind at the time, but again, we have no diagnosis of anything, and we have more questions.
I don't know. It's up to them.
Well, the FBI and Indiana State Police, as well as this office, have their investigations still open. We will do some efforts that work together to try and put some more information together, but it's difficult when there is nothing more than what we just put it to close.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sheriff.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Just a real quick. Address a few of the issues that you talked about. Okay. Talk about the hotel. Leading up to the hotel. Why did she go there? And why did she? But they didn't do the one.
No, we have no idea why she went there. She didn't tell her friend why she was going there. In fact, when she was getting her ride downtown, it was just to go downtown. And then the driver didn't know exactly where they were going. They got near the Radisson, and she told them to just drop off here at the Radisson.
And then from there.
And from there, again, she walked into the lobby, did not go up and say, I need a room or anything like that. When they thought that she was acting erratic, they asked if she was okay. And then there was some discussion about a room, and it was decided that she didn't have ID on her, or information, or credit cards, or anything associated with getting a room. And so the staff decided that they were going to help this person in any way they could, and ultimately decided to give her a ride back to Borges because she said, well, take me back to Borges to get my things. So they were under the impression when they took her back to Borges to get her things that she was going to get her things and come back there to check into the room. And that's why it was surprising to the staff member who drove her up there when she got out of the vehicle, said she was sorry, backed away, and took off, possibly in her own car. Is what it looked like.
All very strange. What's the most frustrating thing about this case?
The most frustrating thing for us is that we have a missing person that we would really love to help. We would like to help the family, we would like to help this person. And we want to know what we can do information-wise. We still need people to tell us what they have or what they know about the case. That's frustrating because we get wall after wall after wall.
Is it a matter of somebody not coming forward, or you just need somebody who might have spotted her? I mean...
Well, we're confident that if she is out there and well, then somebody knows where she's at. Who that somebody is, we don't know. And that's why it's important we keep getting this message out there, because somebody could be working with missing Teleka Patrick and not know her. She could be in a homeless shelter, or she could be someplace pretty much contained the place, basically. And somebody could look at her and go, oh, hey, I saw that picture on TV.
So that's why it's important to continue for you guys to do press conferences occasionally and get the word out.
I guess I don't want to...
Anything else that...
No.
Did you have to talk about it for the last half hour?
No.
How far away did the dog's track set? Was it like right up from the...
It was from the car to the road.
Just right through
From the car.
It wasn't like down the road.
No, every time
okay.
from the car to the road, and it kept going right again. From the car to the road.
And listen, I think kids should left all that stuff behind. That's obviously suspicious to you guys.
Well, anytime that somebody would want to be traveling, and if they were stranded alongside the road, I would suspect that you would want to take your wallet, your $7, and credit card you have with you. Why she did not, we don't know.
Mark.
Did she have a boyfriend?
Did she no, and no significance that we know of, and so many people have contacted. We have talked to so many friends and family, and any acquaintances or anything like that, and none of them have information.
All right, thank you.
There is no indication. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing leading up to that.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
13 jump in. Yep.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Let's see here. You answered quite a few questions today. One question that I have is bring it up here. You may have answered it in the Dr. Patrick reported she always shows up. National missing persons and identified persons database until December.
Well, she went missing on the 6th, and her employer came to us. Normally, we visited the family before we do something like that, so part of any delay was trying to make sure everybody was aware of any situation with a person.
Okay, so the 7th, 8th, 9th, those days, why not get her in the system as soon as possible?
Well, are you talking about her car or her?
Her.
Okay.
So the name of that.
Right, and what we were talking about at that time was we were searching through different bases, talking to different people at the time, and there was a lot of discussion with the family as to what we do and what they want.
I think we all can say that.
So the family was still going through the process. Remember, we have an adult who appears to have gone off on their own, and so we were working with the family, and ultimately that's what we decided. The family and others to
6 and the 10th. Given those reasons, that language between the 6 and the 10th.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Did that cause a detriment to the investigation?
Not really, no. Because the minute you put a name in, if the person was checked, say somebody else, another agency had checked this person's identification, in that meantime, that would come as information to us that even though you put this person's name in today, a day ago they were checked in another location. And that did not happen. So if that had happened, then we would say, yeah, that could have been a detriment. But since that did not happen, we know that she has not been checked in that system prior to us putting her in or after.
How often has the Sheriff's Department been in contact with Dr. Patrick's family?
Well, in fact, I spoke with the family just this morning, so we've been in contact with them on multiple occasions.
Okay, so over the past 40-plus days or so, periodic calls, are they calling you? Obviously, they want to call you to find out what you know. But.
Yeah, it goes both ways. We've talked to them, and sometimes it's to follow up on a question, or sometimes just to let them know where we're at in part of the investigation. They have a detective that they have asking us questions that we work with more than the actual family itself, but because that's who they send.
You touched on the online footprint somewhat in the conference here, but the tweets, alleged tweets, the YouTube videos, how much time or effort are you all putting into that? How much does that weigh into the investigation versus just being a side piece or a distraction?
Well, one thing about social media is if somebody's using it, there are thousands of pieces of information, literally thousands. And so we're going through that as much as we can on a pace that will hopefully help us find any pertinent information. Right now, of course, anything that we've gone through does not appear to be pertinent information. And so we're not going to speculate on any information. We're going to always try to authenticate as well as go through thoroughly ourselves.
Well, some of the witness statements as well as the alleged tweets. You look closely at what some have called delusions or questionable mental health
I would not trust reporting
issues. How does that affect the investigation if she is?
Yeah, she did. She did.
Well, every investigation like this is taken case by case, and so I can tell you that every case that we ever have of a missing person or anything that we are investigating, we don't roadblock. So we deal with every roadblock accordingly, make sure that we use every technique that we know to get through these roadblocks, and so we're never really frustrated to the point where we would give up on anything. We are just finding multiple roadblocks, and so the social media network, one thing that we have noticed is, again, there is nothing from her that we could identify since the date she was missing. The biggest roadblock that we have hit is that there are multiple places that we would normally look for information about somebody. I mentioned earlier the fact that she did not have a broad network of friends here, and often, whenever somebody goes missing, we start covering all friends. And what we found was her friends were mistaken out of area, and it was very difficult to track them down.
No, I would not. Two other questions I may have that you haven't already covered here. That's really got anything, Jim? Any curiosity? Okay. Here's one other question. Have you all checked Las Vegas or possibly California?
Well, what we've done is send out requests for information from any agency that's ever had contact with her. We've sent out requests for agencies to check on tips that we received, the FBI received, or the Indiana State Police received. So to name an area specifically, I would not do that, and but we would constantly check anything.
Have those two cities as far as...
I'm trying to figure out why you're asking.
All right. Let's move on.
Okay.
There is. There's a lot.
Found I mean, I didn't want to answer that.
Right, and that's our difficulty, that too much of that can happen. What we recognize is that she has been all across this nation. She has visited all over, and so any one place that she may say she likes or she's been, she'll tell somebody else she likes and she's been someplace else. So we're not going to focus on one area, but we do have questions out to several areas. And again, nothing financial has moved. Right. Again, nothing's been hit. No credit cards have been hit. No insurance cards have been hit. No anything has been hit. Indicate where she is.
There's two other questions here as far as if she did have some other
only if we knew it. Only if we do it. And again, things like tweets and Facebook and things like that help us find things like that. And friends, again, that's why we go to the friends right away and say, what do they go by, that type of thing.
And then with the warrants, last question, with the warrants,
there's no warrant.
I'm sorry, the email,
Our search warrant? Yeah.
For the emails, the cell phone records, the computers. That turned up nothing that we could use. Right. It gave us an idea of where she might be in our thought process, but it doesn't turn up anything as to there is no telling no saying I'm running from, I'm running to, this person's after me or I'm after that person. There's nothing like that.
So you think she's off the count?
All right.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm
Oh, okay. How are you?
Quick question. Did she?
Right. We have
I mean, it sounds like you crossed that a long time ago.
We've talked to the bank. If any money was moved, it appears normal.
Yeah, how much more can you...
He'll talk to you. He'll talk to you, but see what I need. Just that's just... You can talk about it, but you won't see it.
What I caution anybody is recognize that
Why they
behavior is one of the and has some issues. But what we sent for intelligence when it came in,
Anything else going on?
seek help or anything like that.
I know
know,
One specifically, and that would be out of the
she's
city.
off to the doctor, she's got,
Not really.
yeah. So we were
But not
chatting
under the
about the
same
911 calls that Indiana has. Do you have that
Portion.
copy of them, just a portion?
You know, it's a very much, we get about 10 feet outside this area, because you can't
It
just
sounded
roll.
like, it sounded like, it might, well, sometimes, and I mean, well, of course it's interesting, it's just another little piece of this puzzle, but also, when we're talking about, you know, trying to figure something else, who might have seen her, also recommend, who would have known she didn't get picked up by someone.
But if we jam,
Or that person must
then we jam.
remember.
So, you know.
Or they just want to go home.
It's never the operation. I can tell, this is the place to be. You get the NFL channel, the NFL network package, you can watch every game. This is where you get talking about tornado damage. Any major, like the oil spill. We activate this, and actually,
Yes.
Oh, and I guess we have to.
that show what it is. Because if you get into this room during a major incident, you gotta be somewhere. You have to be I don't want the mayor.
Well, there's a lot that are never found.
Just like a wall, he's of no value. I need the guy, I need the Red Cross guy.
And the other thing
Pick up
too,
the phone and say, send me
I wonder if
energy.
there's been no fake activity.
Have you guys
I
heard of it?
was nobody knows what was like, well, she's had enough.
So we had the oil spill, we had that, and then prior to that, we get it open every so often, but we had it. No like our tornado. That's mostly when you'll see it, but it was originally built because the Russians, you know, they were very concerned about Russians when it drops big nuclear bombs.
Yes.
Well, I think I also wondered if they were still against it.
That was the whole thing, that's why you look at the walls, you see that.
Several contacts of things donations.
They were generally right back
I have a
just
question.
60 years.
Are Julie back?
Yes, Rick Fuller.
Yes, and from
I saw Harold.
What can the public do to help fight Teleka? Is there anything, you know, you've got lots of concerned people out there. I got a call yesterday from Jersey.
Really?
I did. And it was like her whole church. She was calling on behalf of her church. So what can people do to help?
The best thing anyone can do is be alert to possibly seeing this person. You know, we recognize that she has gone into a very heavily populated area when her vehicle went off the road. So, you know, I have high hopes that she is seeking sort of services or is with somebody in that area. That would make things a lot easier for her and her family, for her ultimately to be found. So that's why it's important that the area where she was last seen is saturated with the information that she's missing and that she was last seen in that area.
Checking our work.
Is it your theory that she's probably still in Indiana, or at this point she could be anywhere?
My theory is that she left Kalamazoo on her own. 2 hours later, her vehicle went off the road in Indiana, and that we have found no indication of any normal avenue that we would use to find a missing person has had no hits. There's no financial information in transactions. There's no media or social media.
And she was a heavy social media.
And she was a heavy social media user, and that her family has not said that they know where she's at. So that is what we're constantly looking for, is a piece of information that we could take to the next piece of information.
Well, particularly the fact that this happened just before the area hit a bunch of brutal weather. I mean, is there a concern that she may have been it had a psychotic break, and instead of the car runs off the road, instead of running up to the highway, she just took off in the woods.
There's always that concern, yeah, and that's why those areas have been searched fairly well. And of course, you are correct. The weather hit And so there's still going to be opportunities to search better at a later point. But once there's this much snow on the ground,
It's hard.
it makes it very difficult.
Right, and actually someone was pointing out, I mean, in 10 minutes, someone could get far enough away that the search people wouldn't have,
Easily.
you know,
Yeah.
and someone was pointing out that the Indiana Dune State Park is actually not that far. It was, I think, within a mile or two of that.
It's a little further than that. And there's
Okay.
there are a lot of obstacles in that area for
Oh,
somebody
okay,
to try
you
to
think-
traverse.
Right,
I've been in the
right,
area
right,
myself.
right.
And there are a lot of obstacles for a person to traverse. Right next to the road's edge is a fence. So initially, to get out of where the vehicle was in a ditch, the person would have to climb a hill. They would have to climb a fence, go over another little hill area, and then there's a road just on the other side. So
Right.
there's a lot of different things in the area that would make us believe that that dog track information from the vehicle to the road's edge is more accurate.
Okay, that's interesting to know that. So you feel more confident that she left that area in a vehicle than you do that she'll be found in, like on a frozen heap somewhere in spring.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
more confident of that, but
Yeah.
that does not stop us from searching that area further.
Yeah. And we have held it together that she seemed fine until they dropped her off at something soon.
Right.
She took off from there.
Right.
So, do you think, is there a worry from you or the family that she's Googled her name, so all this attention and went, whoa, I'm a proud person and I sure don't, this is.
Right. I constantly have that concern. And that's why, as much as possible, I try to express the fact that we're not holding anything against her.
Yeah.
If that was ever the case, that she later said, "I am here,"
Yeah.
we would say hallelujah, and that that we were able to help to some level to get her back to her family.
Yeah. And do you feel like that this is sort of a teachable moment about people who have symptoms of mental health issues? I mean, it sounded like she had some symptoms and she was afraid of the stigma and she didn't maybe seek help. And I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
We have a hope that that's a possibility. Again, we know that there is no one out there telling us that she is with them.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think though that this could be one lesson to be drawn from this is, hey, if people see someone exhibiting symptoms of mental illness, or if you have those symptoms, better to seek help than try to figure this out on your own.
Yes, that's exactly what I would say. Yes.
And because man, I mean, your heart just breaks. She had this brilliant career. It sounded like maybe she just had an issue that she
Right.
didn't want to address.
Right. Could have been stress in her life at the time that she wasn't able to get through.
And actually, yes, I know you don't want to address the tweets, but assuming that those are valid, you look at that, honestly, she was, she thought it sounded like she moved to, she even said, I moved to took a third-grade residence. I could have gone to Harvard. Here I am in Borges. I rooted my whole life because I thought I would be with this person. That didn't happen.
Right.
And now, I tossed my life away.
And I hope, and that could have been something that she got to, and that could have caused the stress or anything like that. And that's why and I'm sure the family expresses as much as possible that all of that would be forgiven or forgotten.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that you can hear this sort of in these tweets, and then she's supposed to go home and visit her family, and actually there was some hint that her siblings maybe were going to be pulling her aside and